Canadians. And he also says that he wants to see more progress on fentanyl. So my question to you is, do you have any conversation scheduled with Donald Trump in the coming days? Is that something maybe your successor should do? And do you really believe that this is about fentanyl, or is there something larger at play here?
I have offered to speak to Donald over the past number of days, and I expect to speak with him in the days to come. I'm always there to talk with him about the importance of working together to take on the world at this time. The facts show very clearly that in terms of taking action on fentanyl, we are doing everything that is necessary, and not just for the United States, for ourselves as well, as Canadians are suffering as well from the scourge that is illegal fentanyl. We have laid out extensive plans, actions, cooperations, including as recently as the past days in Washington, and they have always been very well received. And the numbers bear that out. I think in what President Trump said yesterday, that there is nothing Canada or Mexico can do to avoid these tariffs, underlines very clearly what I think a lot of us have suspected for a long time, that these tariffs are not specifically about fentanyl, even though that is the legal justification he must use to actually move forward with these tariffs.
Monsieur Trudeau, en français, à part l'allocution que vous avez eue envers Monsieur Trump, lui avez-vous parlé au cours des derniers jours, des dernières heures?
Non. Je me suis mis à sa disposition pour parler pendant les derniers jours, comme on avait fait il y a 30 jours. J'espère lui parler dans les jours à venir. Je suis toujours ouvert pour parler.
And, sir, you mentioned this off the top. You're seeing the United States seemingly moving closer to Moscow. This is a same day that the United States has announced it's suspending aid for Ukraine. The Kremlin just said that U.S. foreign policy now is in alignment with Russia. So how do you successfully, or your successor, successfully negotiate with a president who seems to regard his friends as his enemies and his enemies as his friends?
In this regards, Canada and Canadians are very clear. We know who our friends are. We know who our opponents are, and there is no question that Vladimir Putin and his attack not just on Ukraine, but on the rules-based international order, on the founding principles of the United Nations, is an opponent of Canada. I think the question that we all need to be watching closely is, what do the American people think? How do Americans feel about jettisoning one's friends and allies in favor of a country that has never wished Americans well and continues to act in ways that harm the global economy and specifically the American economy and American values and principles?
Bonjour, M. Trudeau. Valérie Gavage de Radio-Canada. J'aimerais vous entendre sur les programmes d'aide. Au Québec, on parle de 160 000 emplois qui pourraient être perdus. M. Ford a dit ce matin, dans 8 à 10 jours, il y aura des mises à pied dans les usines d'auto. Est-ce qu'il y a quelque chose sur la table aujourd'hui qui peut être annoncé pour les Canadiens, ne serait-ce que de limiter le délai pour avoir accès à l'assurance-emploi?
Il y a des choses qu'on va regarder immédiatement sur l'assurance-emploi, mais je veux rappeler aux gens que notre but, c'est pas de trouver des façons pour que les Canadiens puissent passer à travers de ces moments difficiles, c'est d'empêcher ces moments difficiles de durer plus que le temps minimum nécessaire. Si on peut faire enlever ces tarifs demain, c'est ce qu'on va essayer de faire. Notre priorité, c'est de mettre fin à cette guerre économique. Et le fait que des Américains, dès aujourd'hui, font faire face à des mises à pied, vont faire face à des problèmes au niveau de leurs produits de consommation, va nous aider à mettre fin à ces défis le plus rapidement possible. Mais effectivement, on est en train de regarder toutes sortes de choses que nous pourrons faire si effectivement ces tarifs durent plus longtemps qu'une journée ou deux, même avec des actions quasiment immédiates sur l'assurance-emploi qu'on va regarder aujourd'hui même. I think the thing to remember first and foremost as we reflect on the impacts on Canadian workers and Canadian jobs and businesses is that, first of all, there will be similar impacts on Americans losing their jobs, American families paying more for basic goods that they rely on at a time where times are tight everywhere. But our focus has to be on getting these tariffs lifted as quickly as possible. What can we do in the coming days is our focus to make sure that these tariffs don't last a second longer than necessary. So we will be looking at, including looking in the coming day at things we can do around adjusting EI to support people through this difficult time. But our priority has to be not on figuring out how to manage through these tariffs over the coming days and weeks and months, but on doing everything we can to get them lifted and put an end to this unjustified trade war that hurts American families and Canadian families.
On a l'impression que vous n'avez plus beaucoup de cartes dans votre jeu. Est-ce que de devancer la renégociation de la CEUM fait partie des plans actuellement plus que jamais?
Actuellement, dans les conversations avec le président, c'est pas très clair ce qu'il veut exactement.